Guys, welcome back to 100% Mag. So I hope you're all staying safe and well out there. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about the recent news, of course, going around about Newcastle United and the ballot for the tickets, of course, at St James's Park this season for memberships. And we'll also be talking on the channel as well about the upcoming games at St James's Park in the inaugural Sela Cup. Of course, it's St James's Park, and I'll be giving you my thoughts, of course, heading into them two games, one against Fiorentina to kick it off, and then, of course, to finish it off for us, the game against Villarreal. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first off, we will talk about, of course, the ticket side of things and the ballot. Now, this has caused a bit of controversy with, of course, the fan base, and to be honest, I don't see why they were so uptight about this, to be honest. Not an offence to some of the fans out there, of course, because at the end of the day, you know, there is going to be people that aren't too happy about the way it was organised. But at the end of the day, we've got fantastic owners. You know, if you just say, you know, that you're not happy with something, give them the feedback. You know, don't go over the top. Don't be, you know, disrespectful like I've seen so many people being out there so far. You know, there's been a lot of people that have been very, very disrespectful. And now, you know, the owners have come out today, just matters of, you know, 24 hours later, let's say, you know, they've come out and they have adjusted it. They've fixed the problem that so many people had with the ballot process for memberships purchasing home match tickets at St James's Park, of course. And the process was obviously that, you know, you'd enter into the ballot with your membership for a home ticket, and then you'd be charged, I think the amount was somewhere from £44 to £74, you know, for a ticket. But that has now been fixed. You know, Newcastle United's now come out, the owners have come out, they've made a statement, Darren Eales has made a statement. Of course, the tickets for the opening game against Villa, the ballot for that, of course, went on sale this morning at 10 a.m. And it closes, of course, at 10 a.m. on Friday coming. But, you know, Darren Eales came out, he talked about the situation. Of course, he said after reviewing feedback from fans and supporter groups, members will now be able to select a specific ticket price category that best suits their needs, and payment will only be taken automatically if they are successful in the ballot for their chosen category. So if you're not successful in your ballot for your chosen category, then there will be no payment taken from your account, of course. This functionality will be operational when ballot registration opens, of course, from 10 a.m, which was this morning. Please note that supporters are unable to select multiple price categories at this time. So that's something, you know, that they will end up fixing, I'm sure, down the line. But we did see, you know, Darren Eales coming out and saying we are committed to ensuring match tickets are made available fairly so that fans can continue to support the team so magnificently home and away. While we have made positive changes in that regard following ticket workshops with fans, we are also appreciated the feedback we specifically received in response to our proposed home ticket ballot. He also then went on to say the process for memberships, after reviewing that feedback, we have made an adjustment and members will be able to select the specific price point that best suits them when entering the ballot. Supporter engagement is hugely important to us, and we will continue to seek fans' views as we build towards sustainable success together. Then, of course, in the article Newcastle United put out after Darren Eales said that, they talk a bit about the online ballot process, of course, which basically says each member has a unique supporter ID and can therefore only register once for the ballot. So if you are included in a group application, you can't also make an individual application at the same time, which is what I've already talked about on the channel before. Of course, that is a new rule that Newcastle United have put into effect because there was a lot of people signing in on multiple devices and it was really blocking up the queue, and it was unfair to a lot of people who, of course, only had one device to sign into to be able to try and get themselves a ticket to the game. So to make it fair for everybody, they've made it so that if you are a group, you've got to only be in that one group. You cannot also sign in as individuals as well. It's all fair, in my opinion. It's perfectly fair. Everybody gets a fair chance then, of course, to get a ticket to the match. Also, we've seen at St James's Park, as well, as you can see by the image up on screen, of course, the boards have been put up at the turnstiles talking about the digital ticketing, which will be in effect, of course, for the game this coming Saturday against Fiorentina at St James's Park. Then, of course, it will be in effect for the game against Villarreal on the Sunday as well, the very next day after the Fiorentina game. And as you can see by the image, it says make sure you have already downloaded your ticket, have your phone/smartwatch ready as you approach the turnstile. Remember to tap and hold your phone/smartwatch on the scanner. Scan accompanying children into the stadium first, of course, to allow them to get in so that there isn't a delay. If access is denied, please visit the main box office. So by looking at that, that sounds as though there will be no staff on the turnstiles. I think that is something, of course, that the club will probably rectify down the line, but it is something that, to be honest, might cause a little bit of problems. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, of course, but that is one of the rules on, of course, the board. And then, of course, if your battery dies, visit the local heroes here to help up next to the box office. So again, saying to go to the box office if anything happens, of course, with the phone dying, as of course it is all digital ticketing now to get into the stadium. So definitely make sure that your phone's fully charged going to the stadium, and make sure that you try and arrive on time as well, because with it being digital ticketing, it probably will take some time, of course, for people to go through. Not everybody's tech savvy at the end of the day, so there will be some of the older fan base, even some of the younger fan base, who doesn't quite know how to work their devices. It will take time for them people to get into the stadium, but I'm sure there will be something there. Newcastle will put something there, of course, to help speed up the entry into the ground for, of course, the matches going forward. Of course, there has been many supporters groups as well putting the news out about this ballot lock, and of course it's now been rectified. So at the end of the day, this is something that we should be appreciative in the fact that owners have come out pretty much 24 hours later after making what some would say a mistake, which in my eyes it's not really a mistake. It's just something that happens at the end of the day. We've got to remember, these guys haven't ran a football club before, so to do what they're doing with this team right now, and how we're going along under these owners so far is just absolutely amazing. It just shows how well these people are, how great these people are, at what they're doing. So they're learning as they go along, and we've got to appreciate that as well as a fan base, because at the end of the day, it's either this or, you go back to the previous, ownership, if you like, but nobody wants to go back to that. Nobody wants to have to deal with that again. So I'm happy with what we've got. Just enjoy what we've got. It will take time. Nothing's going to happen overnight at the end of the day. So we'll have to just bear with these owners and allow them a chance, to show exactly what they can do, and they're already doing that already in my eyes. So just trust in the owners and don't get so uptight just because they're charging, say, 74 quid for a ticket. At the end of the day, it's only a ticket. If you get to see your team, does it really matter how much you pay? At the end of the day, you're getting to see Newcastle United, and that's all that matters, and that's all that should matter in my eyes. At the end of the day, if you're going to see your team, that is all that matters. But moving away from that, of course, we'll look at the club shop, and we're seeing many A4 pieces of paper being put up in the club shop again. We have sold out of the following sizes. So again, Castor are running out of stock for the shirts for this season, and we're seeing it again, being put on social media that they're running out of sizes in the shop, and that again is another thing that we should expect, and I've expected it from the moment these owners came in, that if you want a team that is going to be the best team in the world, then you should expect to see things like shirts selling out in the store. Yes, there should be more stock put in time, but again, that is Castor, a company that in themselves are trying to build their brand, and unfortunately I think they've took a few too many clients on too fast, and it has caused them some trouble there. But I would love to see them leave, to be honest, and we'll get somebody like an Adidas in or something like that. But at the end of the day, for the time being, we'll have to deal with what we've got, and at the moment we have got Castor, in the shirts that they've produced this season. They're really nice designs. All of the shirts are really good, so that is pretty understandable that they are flying off the shelf pretty quick, because they're that good of a design, and they're just fantastic shirts that they've made for this season as well. So that is happening in the club shop. We've seen the Premier League coming out, and of course talking about doing World Cup style amounts of injury time to matches as part of a crackdown on time wasting. Now again, with the time wasting stuff with the Premier League, this is something of course that they were harping on about a lot last season, and they were picking on us for it a lot last season as well, saying that we were doing the dark arts. Yet we're seeing other teams in the Premier League do it, and there wasn't a single word said about them doing it. But the Premier League and the EFL officials will add World Cup style amounts of injury time to matches as part of a crackdown on time wasting, at the heart of new refereeing guidelines that will be in force for next season. Of course, we've also seen Sky Sports coming out and saying that there will only be one person allowed in the technical area during a match. So how we're seeing, of course, since Eddie Howe's came in, Tyndall and Eddie Howe standing in the technical area talking during the match. They're now saying that that wouldn't be allowed to happen. If it does happen, then one of the people will get a yellow card who is standing there. And of course, this is because of all of the antics that we're seeing with the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Antonio Conte and Tuchel, of course, last season, where they were fighting with each other in that. But I don't see why, Eddie Howe and Tyndall should be punished for just standing there talking about the game and doing their job. I don't see, where that is a problem. I can understand when it comes down to, Jurgen Klopp and Mikel Arteta fighting with each other, or Antonio Conte and Tuchel fighting with each other on the sideline, because that should not be allowed. That kind of attitude and that kind of reaction on the sideline should not be allowed. It's just completely and utterly out of line. But to say that Tyndall can't stand next to Eddie Howe when he's clearly done that for a very long time, and when you go back to, the older days of football, when Cloughy and Taylor were standing next to each other, would you be telling them now, in this day and age, that they're not allowed to stand next to each other? That is an iconic scene of football, to see the assistant manager and the manager standing right next to each other. So to not see that in football going forward because of this rule would be absolutely disgusting. It's okay for other teams because they don't have, like we've got Tyndall and Eddie Howe standing on the sideline. You don't see that with Liverpool. You don't see the assistant manager for Liverpool standing on the sideline with Jurgen Klopp. You don't see it at Man City with the assistant manager standing next to Pep Guardiola. You don't see it at Arsenal with Arteta's assistant manager standing next to him. You see it at Newcastle, and that is another reason to why they are cracking down on it, and it's just absolutely disgusting. that this kind of rule is coming into effect. And fair enough, like I say, if there was some sort of fighting going on there, like I said, Jurgen Klopp and Arteta, or Tuchel and Conte, then fair enough. But Eddie Howe and Tyndall, they just stand there, they're doing their job, and they're not fighting. There's no fighting going on there. So that's got absolutely nothing to do with the game. It's got absolutely no reason to be cracked down on, because basically you're stopping them from doing their job. Because at Newcastle, as most people will know, at our club, it is done in more of an American style. Eddie Howe will control the attacking side of things. Tyndall will control the defensive side of things. So we do need two people on that sideline to be able to talk to each other and, work out the best way to approach the game, because that is the way we do it at Newcastle. So again, it is anti-competitive in my opinion that they are bringing this rule in, to be honest. So let us know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. Of course, we did see on the women's side of Newcastle United, of course, we're seeing Laura Robson going to Middlesbrough. So good luck to Laura Robson. Hopefully she has a good time over there in Middlesbrough. And of course, best of luck to her as well. She was fantastic for Newcastle women. And of course, today is as well the birthday of Emil Kraft as well, Emmy. So happy birthday to Emmy as well. Hopefully we'll be seeing some of him this season. Unfortunately, he got injured during the Tranmere game and missed out on the rest of last season. So hopefully we do get to see a little bit more of Emmy in the squad this season. But let us know your thoughts, down in the comments below. Of course, the game against Fiorentina, I think will be a very interesting game. I'm going to say Newcastle to come away from that game 2-0 winners against Fiorentina in the first of the Sela Cup games at St James's Park. And of course, I'm also going to say for the Villarreal game, I think that will be an interesting test as well. These are two fantastic teams, two fantastic European competition teams as well. So I think the game against Villarreal will be another really good one as well. And I think Newcastle coming away from that would be nice. And I'll see Newcastle 3-0 against Villarreal for that game. Anybody who does want to attend that game, there is still tickets, I believe, on sale for it. There's weekend passes, I believe, on sale for it as well. The weekend pass allows you entry to all of the Sela Cup games. So if you want to purchase that one, then that would probably be the best one if you want to see all of the games. But the individual ticket, of course, for the Fiorentina game also entitles you entry to the ground to see the women's game and the other game as well on the same day. So, of course, to start it all off, it's Nice versus Villarreal. So if you buy the ticket for Newcastle versus Fiorentina, then you will be able to go in and see the Nice versus Villarreal game in the 12:30 kickoff. Then, of course, the Newcastle against Fiorentina game. And then, of course, the women's game at 6 o'clock on Saturday as well to see out the Saturday games. And then on Sunday, it's 1 p.m. Fiorentina versus Nice. And then Newcastle, of course, against Villarreal at 4 p.m. Of course, the format for the tournament is 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and an additional point per goal scored. So, say for instance, we score 2 goals, then of course you would get 3 points plus the 2 extra goals. So that would make it 5 points you would get for the win. So if we were to win 2-0 against Fiorentina, we would get 5 points for that game. That is the way this tournament's format works. So let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Farewell, lads.